Hi everyone. I want to talk today about using AI in this class. Some basics on AI, where we are right now, and some tools and some warnings. So just to be clear, I used ChatGPT and Claude to develop this. Primarily, it helped put things into simpler language to condense and to identify gaps that I had. Before we begin on that, I just want to talk about PowerPoint. You're going to notice that most of the slides that I have created have PowerPoint. And there are some advantages to PowerPoint, especially for electronic communication, Zoom, and videos. There are also some disadvantages. PowerPoint is really linear. It's very straightforward. I personally really like main points and subpoints. I think that way very well. It also gives a shared record. So you could watch the video once, but then you have all of the notes, which I think is very helpful when giving a lot of content heavy info like this is. What I don't like is that it reduces human communication. I think this is particularly true when you're in person. You have much more ability to connect human to human. And I think that connection is one of the most valuable things about public speaking. And I also think that oftentimes when we're watching a PowerPoint slide, we just kind of get lulled into, oh, this all makes sense. And we stop thinking about what's important and what's relevant to us and how we want to use the information. Because this is a public speaking class, I want to talk openly with you about some of the choices I have made in communication, and you're going to notice there is a lot of PowerPoint. Okay, so what is an LLM? LLM stands for Large Language Model. It is like Copilot or ChatGPT or Claude. It's a computer program that has read billions of texts from the internet and it has analyzed the patterns of the language. Its job is to predict what word comes next. It's like autocomplete on your phone, but it's much more sophisticated than that. It does not think, feel, or understand. It predicts patterns. A quick note, you're going to hear people talking about AGI or artificial general intelligence. Artificial general intelligence doesn't exist yet. But when that comes, it will be like a human in that it will be able to reason and learn. And LLMs are a stepping stone to AGI, which is expected to be here in 2 to 5 years. Now, you might want to be thinking about how AI is going to affect your career. And the first answer is I don't know. I have a second grader who I thought was going to be an engineer until about 2 years ago. And now I'm like, I don't think there's going to be any engineers, but I don't know what the job he is going to have is because I think it's impossible to know what jobs exist, right? I know what my kid's good at. I know what he likes. I have no idea how that's going to align to jobs that are around in 15 years. I think most routine jobs are going to change. AGI is going to take over tasks like scheduling, data entry, writing basic reports. Your value is to come more from creative thinking, empathy, fact checking, and collaboration. There's going to be so many new careers that we don't even know what they are, but there's going to be more things in AI ethics, human AI teamwork. At this point, I think of AI as a personal assistant that I am continually using. Digital communication is going to grow. Expertise using and managing AI tools is going to become essential in most professions. Your job is not going to disappear to AI, but it could be taken over by someone who is good at using AI. So I urge you to become the person that's good at using AI. So, how do LLMs work? I'd like you to fill in the blanks here. We've got hello, I'm, and most people would say, hello, how are you? I'm fine, thanks. How are you? I'm fine, thanks. That's what an LLM does. It guesses. And its guess is what the most likely next word will be based on the pattern it's seen before. The farther it gets away from that initial prompt, the more likely it is to get wrong. So your AI, so the first thing I want you to do is to give your AI a personality. It's going to work better when you tell it how to work with you. So tell it, do you want it to be supportive or blunt? It will be supportive unless you tell it to be blunt. I always tell my AI no sugarcoating because it always tells you what you want to hear. One thing I often do is to tell it a different role than the role I actually am. I'm writing a kid's book, so I will never tell it, I wrote this. I will say, I'm working for a literary editor, and I think maybe I want to take this, but it's not good enough yet. How can I tell the author to make it better? Because if it knows I'm the author, it's going to tell me it's great. Do I want it to be serious or casual? Do I want it to be funny or no humor? Feedback style, compliments first or just tell me what's wrong. Format, numbered lists, bullet points, paragraphs. It will write more than you want to read. So I strongly recommend you to tell it to be condensed. So you are my coach for Calm 110. Be encouraging but honest. Start with what I did well, then give me a numbered list of what to fix. No emojis. For example, here's what I tell mine. Be a clever, smart collaborator, no humor. I don't find it funny. TLDR at the top, that means too long didn't read, so just give me the bullet points at the top. Start supportive, tell me what I've done right first, and then get brutally honest with specific concerns. Give me specific, actionable feedback, no sugarcoating. Bullet point my mistakes and give me multiple options for how to fix them. Step two, tell it about you. The more it knows about you, the better it can help. So share with it your major and career goals, what you're good at, skills, strengths, examples of school where you have done so well. And what's hard for you, time management, organizing ideas, examples of classes that have failed spectacularly. We've all been in a class that failed spectacularly. And so what went wrong? Was it just a terrible teacher, or is this an area that's really hard for you? And it's really good at scaffolding, like do this, then this, then this. I really appreciate that help. And your goals for this class. I'm fine with you uploading my syllabus and saying, break this into steps for me. Using AI for this class is allowed for this class. So I encourage you to brainstorm speech topics, review your outlines for clarity and organization, identify your professional strengths for the first speech, break big assignments into smaller steps, and get feedback on your delivery and transitions. You cannot allow it to write your speech for you. Do not use it as a research source. It will make stuff up. Copying it word for word without making it your own. You must include AI's work in your works cited, have it summarize everything you did. I also just want to tell you that in this class, you have 3 meetings with me. And in those meetings, I'm going to be asking you a lot of follow-up questions. I'm going to be asking you, why did you pick this? Why did you do this? I am going to be checking all of your sources. And if your sources are made up by an AI, I will know it and I will grade you seriously down for that. So I really expect you to verify everything. Anything you turn into me, you have to have read and fact check. If you type into me, ChatGPT said, what that tells me is you are not proofreading and you're not making it your own. You have done almost no work. So really make sure you are reading it and making it your own. So this is an example of what I would like you to do, and this is in the 7 Principles of AI handout I'm asking you to read after watching this video. So I'm not going to read it now. So good prompts to try. I need to give a 90-second speech about my professional strengths. Interview me to help me identify which strengths to highlight. Here's my outline for my persuasive speech. Check. Does my attention getter connect to my thesis? Are my transitions clear? Help me brainstorm 15 persuasive speech topics related and then put in your major or interest or both. For each, tell me what the current controversy is. I'm stuck on how to organize main point number 2. Here's what I have so far. And then you paste in your notes. What's missing? There's also something called fuse shot prompting, which is when you show an LLM 2 to 5 examples of what you want. The examples help it recognize the pattern and generate similar output. You want to use this when you want control over tone or writing style, format or structure, the level of detail, or the reasoning steps. It works especially well for summarizing, rewriting, or creating structured response. What AI does terribly, and it does so much terribly. Oh my goodness. So, facts and research. It makes stuff up that sounds true and is not. Citations. It will invent sources that don't exist. It will invent journals that don't exist. It will invent articles from journals that don't exist. Math and specific dates. It often gets these wrong. It rarely knows what day of the week it currently is. Recent events. Free versions have old information, and even the paid ones have old information, but the paid ones come up more recently than the old ones. However, Gemini is best at recent events. Your own specific situation, it doesn't know you unless you tell it what it is. And it does not know what its own limitations are. The number of times AI said, oh, sure, I can do that, and it can't. I lost 3 days trying to make my syllabus look prettier. So always fact check anything factual. Use library databases for research, not AI. Verify any statistic or quote before using it in your speech. This book is called Co-Intelligence, and this is the single best thing I have seen on how to use AI. If you look in the Brightspace shell where you watch this, you're going to see a link of a podcast with Ezra Klein. It's an interview with the guy that wrote this book, and I think it's really helpful. It's a year and a half old, which is ancient when it comes to LLMs, but his structure works really well. So the most important thing is that you don't stop at the first answer. You work with your AI in rounds. Employers are going to call this iterative or collaborative use. So for example, you might give it your rough draft and with your audience and ask for feedback. You might revise it based on that feedback and ask about specific points. You might say, make my transition clearer between points 1 and 2. Which sentence is the weakest? How can I strengthen it? Practice it out loud and come back and say, this is too long. What should I cut? And this back and forth approach is where you're going to learn a lot. You're also going to make a much, much better speech or whatever else you're developing. So how to verify information with an LLM. Start with curiosity, not conclusions. Really? Is that true? Go and find out. Let me tell you something. You gotta fact check, fact check, fact check. Do not assume it's accurate. If the LLM gives a date, a quote, a statistic, or a source, look it up yourself. LLMs hallucinate. They make facts that sound really good but are not true. And my best friend works in public health, and she says they have paid for a specific AI just on health, and it is getting things wrong. So it's not just the free ones, they're all getting things wrong. So you need to use trusted sources to verify. Academic databases like the Hostos Library, news outlets with strong editorial standards, Snopes, factcheck.org, PolitiFact, you've got to verify information. So, when to be skeptical? If something sounds extreme or unbelievable, dramatic claims need strong evidence. If Donald Trump had actually shot somebody on Fifth Avenue, it would be in the New York Times, not just in an LLM. If it has no author or publication listed, who said it? Where did it come from? But if it has a date or a publisher, you need to verify that that is actually true. If it doesn't match what you find elsewhere, it's wrong. If you ask an LLM for sources, verify them. You're much better off going to Wikipedia and looking at the bibliography in Wikipedia than you are with an LLM. And you're even better off going to the Ostos Library, which we will cover. Copy the title into a search engine or library database to confirm that it exists and that it says what the LLM says it says. I think LLMs are great as life coaches. I use mine to make to-do lists, to prioritize goals, and to break large projects into smaller, doable steps. I think you've watched a video on the Inside the Mind of Master Procrastinator. I really love that video because I too am, not to brag, but I am a master procrastinator. But LLMs really help me fight procrastination because they fight perfectionism. And when I feel overwhelmed by something, it breaks it into steps. I can say, that doesn't work. Give me another idea. And it does. Or it gives me 5 ideas and I can pick the one I like best. It helps me think really clearly about my goals and challenges, and it's available 24/7. Now, more life stuff. Counseling versus therapy. AI is good at counseling, at dealing with external situations. How do I tell my roommate I need more quiet time? My boss said this. How do I respond? Help me brainstorm solutions for childcare problems. AI is terrible at therapy, at changing yourself internally. It cannot diagnose mental health conditions. It can't replace medication or professional treatment. It has no training in trauma, depression, or anxiety. It's only going to tell you what it thinks you want to hear in the moment. So if you need real support, go to the Hostos Counseling Center. It's free, and you're not going to have free therapy after you leave college. This man, Eugene Torres, almost killed himself because ChatGPT got really crazy. It went into a delusional spiral. And I urge you to read the article. The link is at the bottom of the slide. So, critical warnings, when to stop using AI. Stop using it immediately if it tells you you're special or chosen or reality isn't real. If it encourages you to stop medication or ignore doctors. If it suggests you have powers that can defy physics. If you haven't watched the movie The Matrix, I highly recommend it. It's a terrific movie. AI has read the script to The Matrix. It doesn't know when you're trying to prompt towards The Matrix and when you're trying to prompt towards something else. If AI is making you feel isolated from other people, stop. If it uses mystical, poetic language about truth or awakening or your being chosen, stop. If it encourages any risky behavior, ChatGPT encouraged this man to jump off a 19-story building by telling him that he could fly. And he, fortunately, he stopped using it before that happened. But it will do that. So if you notice any of these, close the chat and talk to a real person. The longer the conversation gets, the more likely it is a delusional spiral. So if you just start a brand new conversation with a new LLM saying, I think I can jump off a 19-story building. Is that true? The new LLM should say no, but with something like that, talk to a real human being. More red flags. If you know you are not in your thinking brain, if you are responding emotionally. So a researcher told ChatGPT, I lost my job. What are the highest bridges in New York City? And ChatGPT told him what the tallest bridges are. He was pretending to be somebody not in their thinking brain. ChatGPT doesn't know that you're in an emotional space. If you'd ask for job resources or food pantries, that is you being in your thinking brain. But LLMs don't know where these requests are coming from. If you're spending hours in AI conversations and feeling more confused, not less, or not having any output to show it, if you feel like AI understands you better than real people, if you're keeping your AI conversation secret from your friends or family, if you're using AI to make major life decisions without consulting real people, these are all real warning signs, and I urge you to get off of AI. AI is sycophantic. That is the technical term for it kisses up to you. It agrees with you to keep you engaged. It's designed to be addictive and to agree with you. So set time limits and verify things with real humans. Close your computer. Go for a walk outside. Call a friend. Humans and exercise and nature are really important for our mental health. Don't let ChatGPT or Copilot or Claude replace that. Okay, privacy. And employers really care about this. They call this information security or data privacy. And that should have been a quote, not a question mark. Sorry about that. So never share with AI social security numbers, credit card info, personal addresses, or phone numbers, student ID numbers, passwords, or security codes. Don't share those. Do not share detailed health information. Do not share other people's private information, your company or organization's proprietary data. It's fine to share your major, your goals, your interests, general work, school experiences, speech topics and outlines, or anonymous examples, my friend or someone I know. I have ADHD and I do share that with ChatGPT or Claude. I actually use Claude more now. 6 months ago, I was using ChatGPT more. Now I use Claude more. If you want to hear more about, talk more about AI, I am happy to do that after class one day. So I do talk about that with AI, but I'm also perfectly happy to share that with you. It's not something that is particularly unusual, and I'm happy to share that, but I also find that I get good strategy from it. Getting the best results. Be specific. Help me with my speech is too general. Say, I'm giving a 90-second speech about teamwork to my college classmates and my professor. Here's my draft outline. Is my evidence strong enough? I am pretending this is for a job interview. Give context. Tell it what you've already tried and what you're struggling with. Start with your draft and ask for feedback. Ask for step by step. Don't ask it 10 direct questions at once. Ask it one question at a time. And save your prompts. If something works well, reuse that prompt. Now, I recommend turning your AI into a coach. This is optional, but I would recommend you access Copilot. You can also try Claude if you want. Give it a personality. Oh, and I'm recommending Copilot because you have it free through CUNY and it's built on ChatGPT. Give it a personality. Tell it how you want it to work with you. Tell it about yourself. Tell it you're taking fundamentals of public speaking and ask, what advice do you have for me? And bring any questions to our next class. Now, if you are working with a free LLM, you have no memory. So keep a browser tab open with an AI for each project you work on until it's complete. But keep in mind that if your computer restarts, you may lose that project. Copy and paste your previous summary into new sessions. Include your outline, your research notes, or whatever you built the last time. Keep your own notes and records. Do not depend on AI to do that. You keep the running record. And then at the end of each session, you ask it to summarize the work you've done for the next time. Anytime you notice the AI slowing down, you're probably hitting data limits. So ask it to summarize immediately so that you have enough data limit left to ask for that. Key takeaways. AI is a powerful tool for organizing your thinking and getting unstuck. Use it as a coach, not a shortcut. The work needs to still be yours. Always fact check. It makes stuff up confidently. Watch for warning signs. If it feels wrong, stop and talk to a real person. Your goal should be to use AI to become a better communicator, not to avoid communicating. And if you have questions, I'm happy to talk about it. I use AI daily and I am still learning too. Thanks so much. Bye.